and record. Okay. Well, welcome to our Thursday night shift. We're excited to have you guys. If you haven't already, make sure you tag your team, share your teams, invite them to join us. It's always a fun time to get to connect with you. And tonight, we're excited about this topic that we're going to talk about because it's something that I know that we're all missing. And as I've talked to other leaders, I think they've been missing as well. And it's definitely the panel of those that are here today. So we are excited for tonight. Our question that we're going to start with is, what do you love about the Scentsy culture? So JP, why don't you go ahead and start us out? You were right next to me. I'm sorry.
Hey, I want to go first. Thanks for choosing me. I want to go first. I wish you hadn't actually, because I wasn't prepared, but that's okay. Because I think it's pretty easy for me that, and I think we'll hear this, maybe the opportunity is what drew you in, whatever it is, but it's the people, the camaraderie, I can't say that, the friendships, the people that make you want to stay. Like it's the connections that I'm like, I mean, not that I've ever even entertained the thought of leaving, but like if I get so frustrated, I'm like, oh, but I would have some serious like withdrawals if I didn't have my people, because this right here is the best. I didn't go to college. I got long-winded all of a sudden. Sorry. I didn't go to college, but this is like my, what I imagine a sorority would be like. Apparently words are hard for me tonight. So I would have to just say the friendships, the connections is definitely my favorite. Jen, you're the first person I saw.
So you took exactly what I was going to say. It is totally the camaraderie. It took me a long time to be able to say that word, but I finally think I have it down. And honestly, like our culture is that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what your style is. It doesn't matter any of that. Everybody is accepted and anybody can be successful. You can be a multimillionaire and completely fail in Scentsy, and you can be a 5th grade dropout and completely just become amazing with Scentsy. That's what's so cool. And all of us, as long as you're a good person, we want to be with you. As long, like that's 100%. And if you're a good person and we can connect with you, we love you. We don't care who you are, where you come from, anything about you, just that you're a nice person. I'm going to call him Melissa.
I had to, in the middle of you talking, say to Autumn, isn't Jen the cutest? You are so cute. I would have you speak. You could motivate me to do anything. I'm just telling you.
I'm gonna need you, Jen.
Oh.
I love you guys more than you love me.
Well, not true. But what I love is looking at the chat. There are so many new consultants and so many consultants that are joining us on shift tonight for the very first time. And I love it. I speak for all of us. Welcome. We are so glad that you're here. And actually, it is kind of fun because I think that the beginning of this call, if you were on before the recording started, it kind of sums up Scentsy culture. The fact that all of us are from different parts of the country. We did not know each other prior to Scentsy. And these are my best friends. And it's because of Scentsy. And it doesn't matter how far away we are from each other, that we talk almost every day, or we do talk every day. And this is so much more than just a business if you let it be. You have to show up to have it be something more than just a business for you. And by show up, I mean show up for your business, show up for your teams, show up for your customers, show up for your family. That this is what you do and this is what you love, and you do it for a reason. You have a place here, like Jen said. There's room at the table for everybody, and we welcome you with open arms, and we all just want to bond over wax warmers and laughing and having a good time. I can't see anybody on my screen because I'm on my phone, so I'm going to go ahead and call Jill.
I knew you were going to say that for some reason. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. I have been with other companies. So it kind of all goes back to the same thing. I can honestly say that I tried out other companies, like not really understanding or knowing that you can't do a bunch of things well. You have to put all of your time and effort into one thing. And there was a point where I was actually making more money with this other company, a lot more money. And I remember saying to Jen, having the conversation, I was doing this, if you guys remember my story, I was doing that second company to kind of hurry along my exit strategy. And I remember saying, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Like, because I would have never left Scentsy because it just felt like home. I remember going to my first convention, worried, like, was I going to fit in? Was everyone going to like me? And it was like immediate that I just felt something in my heart. Like everyone welcomed me with open arms. I felt like I knew them for years and years and years. So it was never about, I mean, I always knew that I could get to the level of money I wanted, but it wasn't ever about just making money. I just always knew that that was my family. I felt safe and at home. And it was just for all the reasons these ladies have given. And the fact that I loved talking about the product. Like I loved making people remember memories because of scent and fragrance. And I just felt happy. And it's the same thing when people join where they're like, I jump out of bed and I can't stop thinking about it. And I want to do this and I want to do this. And we're like, it's that Scentsy bug. Like you can't really put your finger on it, but you know, it just makes you smile and happy and good. And just all the things that they said, you're all welcome. The only thing that I would say is, like they've said, you have to dive in and ask if you can sit at the table, not even ask, just pull out a chair and sit at the table and dive in. And I think it's easier to get to know people when people see you more. So get uncomfortable and not really hide behind the poster board, hoping someone sees you. Dive in and let us see you so that we can push those chairs out and make room for you, because you guys are all sitting at this table with us. Like, if that makes sense. Like, it's so weird because I can't even put a finger on all of it. It just makes the whole company, the people, everything makes my heart warm. And I hope it does that for all of you guys. And is Jody's next.
Okay, ditto to everything they said. It's hard to put a finger on it. I guess the only thing I'd like to add to what everybody else said, because I agree 100% with what they've already said, is I think Heidi and Orville make things really amazing for me. I came from the corporate world before Scentsy. Shortly before I came from there, I did do some in-home daycare right before I found Scentsy, or Scentsy found me. They don't really care about you a lot, right? They're not very nice. They're not. Corporate world isn't family friendly. You're definitely not making your own schedule. You're working for them, and that's what they're concerned about. Their bottom dollar, not you, not your family, not the hours you put in, nothing. Scentsy's not like that. And I remember the very first incentive trip I went on. Didn't know anybody. I'd never traveled. It was out of the country to Canada. And I sit on this bus with my mama, and this guy gets on and he introduces himself, and it's Orville. And I told him who I was, and he's like, "Oh, I've heard so much about you." And I'm like, "What does that mean? Is that good? Is that bad?" Like, I was a little bit freaked out by it, right? But he knew who I was before we even met. And we have friendships with home office. They care about us. And I think that sets us apart from any other company. And I know that, I started watching Undercover Boss a few years ago. I'm like, Scentsy's had this figured out from the get-go. Like, they just treat their people good. They listen, they ask questions, and they know their people. And I think that's really what makes us different and better than the rest. And I don't know if Heather's here. I don't see her.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I just played on my cell phone. Sorry. We were eating dinner and I lost track of time. Probably because I had a little vino. I started with 3 sips only. That's it. Jason made steak. So yeah, I'm here. I'm just 3 minutes late. I apologize. So Scentsy Spirit, to me, seeing it, I have, again, like Jill said, with so many companies, this one is so different than all of the others I've been with. I have never had the friendships built from other legs in the organization like I have here. Like, I know that these people will show up to my funeral. Like, that's how hard these people will come. Like, they're not disappearing. I know Jason's like, how morbid, but it's true. Like, if I made a phone call and said, I need you here in 2 minutes flat, they would get on a flight. Like, it's those types of friendships. However, had I not been to Scentsy events and made myself go to things where I knew no one or knew one person and was relying on that one person to meet other people, I don't know that I would have been vulnerable and created these relationships and friendships and made me grow as a person, as a mentor in my own business. It's all of these things that go hand in hand with our Scentsy Spirit and our culture that we have. You can't have one without the other. You're either all in or you're not. So you really have to embrace it. And when you catch yourself having that mindset of, I read on a page today, I was scrolling real quickly and I just saw a little bit of negativity. It's their own perception, right? And there really is a very important part to looking at everything as this glass is half full and not empty. And the fact that Heidi and Orville did that and they swung for the fences, if you haven't seen the story, go watch it on YouTube. You'll get a very quick you'll get a very quick vision of who they are and what they stand for and why our company is give more than you take. And I think as long as you remember that every day and try to do it to your best ability, you are going to leave today better than you found it yesterday. And I think that really is the bottom line. If you feel some ugliness or a negative thought, it's not always being 100% in this like fake whatever, but it is being aware of what comes out of your mouth and what comes out of your keyboard, and just helping when someone needs help. I think that really comes down to it. It's just trying to keep a positive attitude, and that Scentsy Spirit for me. It's from the top down all the way to the friendship. Exactly what all these girls have been saying. Honestly, you can't find it anywhere else.
Can I just add something else to that too that kind of reminds me of it? And I don't know that we may not go down this road a little bit later in the call, because I know Callie's taking the lead on this, but another thing too, and I'm not saying that you're always going to experience this, but for the most part, Scentsy as a whole, regardless of your team or your group or where you fall into someone's downline, like none of us are really related business wise. A few of them kind of have affiliations, but we help each other, right? It doesn't matter where you come from. We don't step on other people to gain a higher position. We make room for you at the table. We make room for you at the campfire, so to speak. We don't, generally speaking, I'm not saying that 100% you're always going to find those people, but the Scentsy culture is kindness and give more than you take. So any person that I've ever run into that has an opposite view of that, and they kind of want to step on others to get further in the business, they don't last long. And it's not because we push them out, but it's just because it naturally is a way that they kind of just, they don't fit the Scentsy spirit, the Scentsy way. There's business ethics, there's these business morals that we all have. And with Scentsy, it's just there. It's just always been there. I don't know how to fully explain it, but it's just being with good people. And you guys are all on here for a reason. So sorry, Kelly, I went off on a little tangent on that, but that's kind of where
don't apologize. Like this is what we wanted this to be about. And one of the reasons that this topic was really on our minds was because, the announcement this last couple weeks of not having SFR in person. We know we're doing our Superstar Director thing virtual. We're starting to get some of those dates. Some are, they put out the incentive trips, and there's options for cash buyouts and not traveling. And we understand that there's very serious reasons for that. And we understand that, there's a reason. We get it. But one of the things that makes Scentsy so different is our culture. And the only way to truly, truly ever get to experience that, right, is to go to different events. And so how we wanted to talk about it tonight, to just remind those of you that maybe have been missing that Scentsy spirit, and I see a lot of head nods and like, yes, I agree, or you have a memory that you're reminded of, or different things like that. But then also, I know our group doubled in 2020. That means there's a lot of consultants that have no idea what our Scentsy culture is about. And in a world where you jump online now and it's a cancel culture, or it's, keyboard trolls or whatever, it's so easy to just snap or to read into things when it's not truly that intent, or it is that intent because we don't know the culture, or it's not that intent because we're just so defensive with the world. And one thing I've said time and time again, whenever something in the world comes up, Scentsy's always been a safe place for us. 9 times out of 10, there's been a few times that they try and like dive in on us. But 9 times out of 10, Scentsy's been the safe place where the things of the world almost don't have the same impact here. And it's because we really strive to keep the culture of all the things that these other ladies said. And I'm kind of going into what, you know, we're going to talk about here in a second, or for the full night, and not going into personally what it means to me, because they said it. I even got emotional listening, you know, talking to Melissa or hearing Melissa and different things. Like, I got emotional because it really truly is that feeling. And I love to be reminded of that. Years ago, we went through a corporate executive, some shifts and things like that. And for a long time, Chuck Thompson, or Orville's brother, was our chief cultural officer. And people are like, what is a chief cultural officer, right? And his job was basically to do everything that he could to spread and protect our culture. And that the things that happened within our company were to protect that, because it is such a valuable, valuable thing. So I'm actually going to share my screen. Some of you guys may have seen these slides before, because we actually used them. Heather's a freaking genius and found them. They are on your workstation, but we use these for the opportunity night that we started, because we know that there's so many products out there. There's so many different things in the world that, you know, that people can choose, and they have passions for different things and they enjoy different things. But this is what makes us different. And I truly believe it. And right there, Scentsy has this indefinable quality, which Jody, I think, just wrapped up and said, I don't know how to say it. I don't know the words, but it's just, you feel it. And that's exactly it. It's something that we, and this is their message. So it's something that they planned, but they could never imagined, which takes, but wow, if I could read, I think we're all struggling with English today. I put in the chat, English is hard. You can read it. I'm not going to read it all, but it is just, it's everything. And it's what's going to make this journey so much better. And as the others had shared, we've got to show up to feel it. You have to show up to feel it. And that's why, you know, kudos, you're here already. You know that because you're here listening with us. And so that would be the first thing, is to show up so that you can feel it, so that you can be a part of it. But then to realize that everything that you do in your business contributes to that culture. Every time you respond to somebody on a team page, every time you do X, Y, or Z, you're fulfilling that culture. You're adding to it, or you're taking away from it. Your team members are the same thing. And so just remember that. And right here is our mission statement: to bring value to the world by providing an industry-leading, family-friendly business opportunity, selling creative, artistic, high-quality products that warm the heart, enliven the senses, and inspire the soul. My soul is forever changed because of Scentsy. I will be honest, I have had opportunities, just like Jill, I've had opportunities where to go do something else. And I never in a million years, I had people even say, maybe you should. Close friends of mine, maybe you should consider that. And the thought of that even being a possibility just is, it's not even an option. Like in my brain, it's not an option. I grew up here. There's many of you that are, we have a lot of millennials that have joined Scentsy. We have a lot of Gen Zers that are joining Scentsy. We have a lot of you that have been around with us for 10, 15 years. It's something that, as Jill was saying, she was making more money in another company. I could never in a million years leave Scentsy because of the relationships, because of the people, because of the community. And the fact that even when times are hard, at the end of the day, and even Heidi and Orville, like, they could have left Scentsy years ago and had more money for themselves and their children to live forever, right? Like, they could have had more money with investments and different things. And it was because of the people and the promises that they made to us. And again, the reason we're so passionate about sharing this is because you don't know what you don't know. And until you have these experiences or until you hear it, you don't know. I am going to slip here to the next slide real quick. Simplicity, authenticity. And this is, I think, one of the bigger ones is, as everybody said kind of in the beginning, is we want you to show up as who you are. And that's the other thing I think that makes us all, this company, so great and so powerful, is we want everybody for who they are. We know here at Scentsy that there's so much to learn from everybody. I think something I've heard time and time again is when people come from other companies, or they, or, whatever the case may be, they're very shocked that we share as much as we do. And the others had already mentioned, so I'm reiterating, like, except for, Jen is our frontline, and then Jill is under Jen, right? Other than that, our group that comes together every single week and works together, we are not related in up, down, or whatever. But I would help Jody's people in a heartbeat. I've had conversations with Pam or different people. I know they would help ours, vice versa, right? And it's just that culture of community and connection. Heather, you unmuted. Do you have something you want to add here? Are you unmuted? Oh, I just didn't see your little red thing. Okay. Does anybody, one of our panel, do you have something you want to add while I'm just sitting here rambling? No, we're good? We're golden. Okay, so I'll move on to the next one.
Hey, Callie,
Yeah,
real quick.
sure. Please do. We can't hear you, Melissa. You're muted.
Now, can you hear me? Okay. Tagging on to what you just said. I will never forget when Chuck, I was standing in a group of people and Chuck said to the crowd, the group of us standing there, it isn't so much about, what you bring to Scentsy. It is what would you miss if you didn't have Scentsy? And so I would always think about the second part of that. There would be a gaping hole in my heart, my day, my week, my life, if I didn't have Scentsy. And so I would say, if you want this business to give you all that it can give you, you have to give of yourself to where you would have a gaping hole if you left.
Well, I think we can just end it right there. I'm just kidding. We won't. But that was.
And you're
pretty
doing a
profound.
phenomenal job, Cal.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know about that, but I mean, that to me was very profound, because, you know, one of the things that we talk about a lot, we had actually, when we were discussing this topic earlier today, Heather had said, should we show this video? And we kind of vetoed it, only because I was like, well, I feel like videos always come through choppy. But if you haven't had a chance, and Heather, was it the Deb one, or was it the Heidi keynote? I don't know if I can.
All right, I'm on my phone tonight, so it's so hard. I honestly, if you've got nothing to do and that snowstorm is going your way since it left us, watch the whole thing.
Was it Heidi's keynote though, or was it that one?
Yeah, from that 2015, 2018. When was it? I don't remember the year. Sorry. I can look it up.
Yeah, well, we can look it up and post it in the link when we do the recording of tonight. But if you have the chance to go back to listen to some of those keynotes, or if you're feeling that gaping hole, maybe your hole's not fully, hopefully it's not gaping at all, hopefully, or a little dimness in that hole in your heart or whatever, go and listen to that, especially, or any of their keynotes, to get that idea of that Scentsy spirit, that passion, those cultures. Go look at SFR videos, because you'll get the opportunity to feel that. But there was a season, and I think that was the year, wasn't it the year we did Yay? And it was the year she talked about Scentsy Spirit, and we had the team party. And there was a time when our Scentsy culture was lacking. And if you've been around for a while, you felt that. And another reason why it's important to discuss this is because with the longer that we are apart, the longer it's going to take for people to catch that or have that true feeling. And so the more that we can do to share that is very valuable and very important. And so some of the things that let's go over here. My mouse is in the wrong spot. Okay. So some of the things here, I'm not going to read through all of these. I'm sure you've experienced them, but is that arrows out mentality. And I think it was the same year that Heidi talked about Scentsy Spirit. Orville maybe talked about arrows out, but that give more that you take. That if you were to leave Scentsy, what would you be missing? But also, what can you provide to others, and what opportunity you're keeping? I think at the end of the day, most of us will say that the opportunity is way more than wax and warmers. And the opportunity is, if you don't offer it to other people, it's almost selfish, because you might, and hopefully it's not you, but you may have team members that they're here for a season. They're here for a short time, but who do they lead to Scentsy? Because they offer the opportunity, that it's completely life-changing. And if you think about yourself or your team, how many team members have you had left, but you have a rock star or somebody that's really passionate, or somebody that being surrounded with this community has truly blessed and brought something to. And so those are the types of things that when we think about offering the opportunity in the culture, and why it's important to know about that, is because it gives you more to share about the business than, okay, yes, you make great money, and yes, this, or yes, that, but it's all these other things: the spirited community, the embracing community, the positivity, right? In a world where there's not much some days, that is so huge. We're cultivating We're real, we're fearless. Many can say, and if you, I don't see the heads right now because I'm sharing my screen nodding, but before we were saying a lot of things, I see a lot of head nods, and many of you can say you've had to be fearless. You've had to push through. But every time that we do those things, and for the goals that we create or the opportunities, or I'm going to call her out. She's not on tonight, so we'll have to tell her we did. But even Shelby Thecko, she's in our group. And when we were getting ready to register for why did it just in my brain, the leadership retreat in Cabo, she was worried, like, I'm not going to fit in, or, you know, what are people going to think of me, or, you know, and her flying, I think it was the first time she ever flew with Scentsy. You know, those are fearless things. Those are things you have to overcome, but you get to do it surrounded by a community of people. Like, we've all traveled near and far, and we can say, no, you can do it, and here's how, and here's the tips to make this better. When we go to SFRs and people are worried about, they don't know how to travel, and what do I do in hotels, and like, they've never done those types of things, some people, and Scentsy gives them those opportunities to have those new experiences and be fearless and push past some of those things. And really that gives them the opportunity to explore a world way bigger than what they are currently.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
could I say something right there? When you said that, it just made me think the first Scentsy incentive trip that I earned was to Banff. I didn't know where Banff was. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I really didn't know any details other than I was getting on a plane and going. And basically I had flown, but never like flown without my spouse or someone like close to me. Anyway, all that to say, like, it was my first time to drive to Dallas by myself, all of these things to get on the airplane to go there. And I'll never forget, it's not like I thought I was going to room by myself, but apparently I didn't pay attention to the whole roommate thing. And I remember getting there and really freaking out, like, oh my God, she wasn't in there when I got there. And I freaked out, kind of had like, I guess, a little panic. I was like, this is someone I don't know. And I cried, and it was the best experience ever though. I know that all sounds so scary, but it really was one of the first stepping stones, because after I went on that trip, I mean, I met Jody there. I met Jody there on that trip. And like, I swore that was the year that changed everything for me. I went to Banff. I went to my first reunion. I went to director boot camp. I went all of that in the same year. And it was because I took that scary leap of faith, and I'm like, I don't even know where I'm going or who I'm sleeping in the same room with, but dadgummit, I'm going, you know? So just, you were talking about doing the scary, hard things. That was totally me. And I have, to this day, I'm like, I don't care who I'm rooming with now. I'm just going. Like, let's go.
No, I mean, 1000%. I'm saying I flew for the first time in my life for convention. Like, there's all of these opportunities that in the moment they sound scary, but the payoff is so worth it, because then you also get to experience that Scentsy culture yet again. Another thing is if you have the opportunity right now, and we're, do what you have to do for your family. I'm going to say this, but as you're mentioning Banff, as you're mentioning that, and right now, many of you that earn the incentive trip, you have a choice. Do I take the money or do I go on the trip? And I'm going to say, and if the others want to chime in on this, I will say to you, I understand that everybody has to do for their family what they need to do, right? At the end of the day, if you have financial goals and maybe you're thinking you have to buy people in or whatever that looks like, but if you have the opportunity and it's something that you can do, take the trip. Even if you are like saying, okay, I'm a single person, I can't take my spouse, you're not single, but you can't afford, you only earn for one, whatever, you're scared, and that $2,400 looks great, take the trip. Whatever you do, take the trip. And the reason being is just like JP said, you'll get roomed with somebody. If Kimmy Heinerman was on right now, she would tell you when she did that on a trip, her roommate ended up is one of her best friends now, and they don't live anywhere close to each other. So the camaraderie, we all have struggled with that word, clearly it's hard. The fact that you're going to meet people, you're going to have people that, right now you jump on the calls maybe, but maybe you haven't connected really, right? One-on-one, somebody like us that we say we talk every single day, which I will say, and you girls might have to help me here, but I mean, I've had a great relationship with Jen for years. I've had a great relationship with Jill for years and years. I met Melissa randomly. We ended up we invited her to her retreat, right? Then Melissa had a retreat, and I knew Jody. We've all said at some point we were scared of Jody at one point. She hates when we say that. JP wasn't scared of Jody.
I was never scared of Jody. I just thought she was gonna be mad at me after the whole roommate thing. That's what I thought.
Everyone's always so scared of me, and they're like, "Oh, you're not what I thought." And I'm like, "Right."
Jen was on my Banff trip too. I remember thinking, that's the Jen Audette.
But so but like at the end of the day, what it was is we all connected in different places, and Melissa brought us together for an event actually, and that's where we connected. And that's where our friendships grew and fostered. And then it was even, I will tell you, and this is, you know, even being entwined in the culture and in the community and going to events and doing all the things, it wasn't until even myself, we had gone to this event at Melissa's house and we had a chat for it. And I remember Heather and Jody and Jamie, they kept posting in this chat, if you guys want to come Zoom with us, we're working today. If you guys want to come Zoom with us, we're working today. And I remember showing up once and then I didn't. And I remember showing up again and then I didn't for a long time. And then they had another year at Melissa's and then I didn't actually go. And then I went to the next one. And then Heather said, hey, do you want to, we're Zooming here. If you want to join us, you want to join us. So I showed up and it seriously took years. And this was just in probably the last 5 years before we even got connected. And that was showing up in different ways and even going to events. And you have to show up to be a part of that community. That's me telling you from experience. I wouldn't have this community that, like Heather said, if I said, I need you here tomorrow, I know that they would be here, right? There wouldn't be questions asked. There might be a few hiccups. We might have to figure out a few details, right? But there wouldn't be a question. And I wouldn't have that unless I showed up. And I showed up multiple times, right? And they threw out the little buoy multiple times, but it's up to me to take that action. And I'm so grateful that I finally did and that they kept being persistent. But again, tangents off on a ramble there, but it's because of showing up. It's because of that community and finding the people that you connect with and that you jive with. And it might be scary. You might not know them yet. I remember when I went to Melissa's that first time, I didn't know some of these gals as much and I was a little timid. And then now they're some of my very best friends. I'm no longer sleeping on the mattress in the living room. I get to sleep upstairs now when I go to Melissa's house. So that in my book is a win.
You get to sleep with scary Jody sometimes too. You get right. Terrifying JoJo.
Terrifying JoJo, which now I'm definitely not terrified of Jody. I think she's the funniest person on the entire planet. And I mean, even getting to connect with Becker, right? Sat out and had drinks with Becker and got to talk with her about her business. And so, but anyways, the point of this is not to share all of the memories, but the point is to show up and to be that we want to, I guess the stories do show the culture and the community and the possibility if you do that. If you are a leader, and you have the opportunity to create that culture within your team by doing local meetings, doing local get-togethers, doing a Zoom night for your team, doing whatever it is that you can foster that. I know even for us as a leadership group here, we started last year, I don't remember when it was anymore, doing Work It Wednesday for directors and above. And the reason that we did that was to connect. And I can tell you that even my relationships with many of you that are on here tonight, Rose, and I sometimes hate saying names because I don't want to forget anybody, just know we love you, but Rose and Ross and even building relationship with Lynn and, having just these different people showing up, we've gotten to know them more and to build that connection and build those relationships even more on a more daily basis. And so again, it comes back to taking those opportunities and then as a leader, creating those opportunities. You will see here tonight that when I moved it over before, there were 4 pages, which is 25 per page. That means there's 100 and something people on here tonight, right? That's out of thousands. I mean, our group alone is over 35 right now. We have Melissa's group, we have Heather's group, we have Jamie's group, we have Jody's group. Thousands that have the opportunity to show up that don't. And I understand that many can't make it live and they catch the recordings and that's okay. My reason for sharing that with you is because 1, kudos. And I know that it sounds like sometimes we preach these things and the people that really need to hear it aren't here, but then also that if you decide to do some sort of events or things like that for your team and for your group to try and create that culture, and you feel like you're almost pulling them into it until they've been experiencing that themselves, don't feel bad when you have 1 or 2 maybe 3 show up or no one at all, because guess what? We are proof that there's so many that just don't take advantage of that opportunity, but you keep showing up every single day for the difference that it makes for 1. If it made a difference for one in your community, and you had a Jen pop into your group, or a Heather, or a Jody, or Jill, or a Jamie, or all of you guys that are rock stars, or Melissa, if it made a difference for one that got connected with you and got connected with the community, it was worth showing up every single day. And then that helps build and foster the community. And then they take that and they take their Scentsy Spirit and they share it further. I am going to read this last slide that I've left up way too long. And it says, we are Scentsy. Scentsy isn't just a company or a product. It's a community of encouraging, passionate, real life people. We are Scentsy, and every impression we make in person, in print, or online tells the world who we are. Together, with plenty of heart and a commitment to serve others with world-class work, we make people's lives better. Let's show the world that with Scentsy, we can have a truly full life, authentically inspired by family, friendship, and fragrance. I don't know about you, but that envelops so much. And if we had the opportunity to truly share that aspect of things, and you were sharing the culture and you're sharing the community, there's not a lot of people that I don't think would want to be a part of something like that. Because I know it makes my life brighter every single day. So I'm going to stop talking. Is there something that any of you want to add? I see Jody unmuted because I even got teary-eyed there, and I've read that several times.
You know what? During the Explore Scentsy night, this was my slide, and I think I'm pretty much got teary-eyed too, because it is Scentsy culture and a Scentsy feeling and vibe is very hard to put into words. It is very much something that you have to experience. And I've used this analogy about going to events for as long as I can remember. And if you've ever heard me speak at a world tour, you may have heard it. It's, people say, well, why do I want to go to convention? What's the difference? Whatever, SFR. Well, football analogy, and I'm not a big football person, but if you had the opportunity to go to a live Super Bowl game and sit on the 50-yard line, or stay home and watch the exact same game on TV, which one is going to give you a different feeling, a completely different experience? It's going to be the live event. Always. You're going to have more fun. You're going to have more memories. You're going to remember the smell of the air. You're going to remember the temperature. You're going to remember so many more things and details about it because you were there to experience it in person. I want to touch base, and like some of you guys might be listening, and I really hope that this isn't happening. I hope nobody's going, well, they've got it all. They've got this friendship. They've got that. It takes time, you guys. I met Jamie in 2009. I didn't become friends with Jamie until I went to Houston World Tour. Heather, I don't know what year that was. It was years later.
Years ago, because she called Melissa and she goes, I don't know Heather very well, but do you think she'd mind if I come? And
Right.
look
No,
at
I did that, Heather, for H-Town.
H-Town Showdown. That's what.
But I'm noticing a trend. I basically invite myself places, I think.
Well, and that's what it takes.
And that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, if you don't have your tribe of people, and I hope that nobody ever calls it a clique, because that's not what it is. It's just where you kind of feel comfortable, where you can be who you are, all your imperfections to everything in between. These people that admit to you that they were terrified of me without really getting to know me now know that that's not my personality. I just guess I have an RBF. I don't know. I guess long nails, cigarettes, and being from New York was terrifying for people, but it takes time, like I met some of these people I used to walk around events, like I don't really belong. I'm just going to hang out in my room, but I would still go, right? Because it was important. And I knew I would get something. Even if it was just one or two nuggets, I would get something. But by going over and over, that's where you create these relationships and start talking to people. And heck, Kelly, I didn't start talking to you until Syracuse World Tour a couple years ago, really, on a full-time basis. So we're still kind of new as well. So don't try to fit in where you don't necessarily belong. I mean, you always belong with Scentsy. I hope that comes out right. But you will find your people by showing up over and over, showing up. And during COVID, it's a little bit more difficult to do that, but that's why we do things like the Explore Night, the Work It Wednesday. Heather does trainings on Tuesdays. Jamie has lives. We have this night. We make those available because we know that you can't meet up in person, and we still want you to connect and feel as much as you can while we're all kind of disconnected, if that helps. Heather?
Speaking of,
sorry. Go ahead, Jamie.
No, apparently I'm just all over the place tonight. But
go
speaking
for it.
of conventions that's what we used to call them, SFRs and stuff. Do y'all, for those who were there, remember, I can't think what year it was. It was the Chasing Fireflies year, basically, when Heidi said, all the lights were out and everybody held up their flashlight for the year they joined. Like, I kind of want to get a little emotional because I can remember going to my first convention and there were like 2,000 people. I don't know how many people were there. I'm just making up numbers. And then like the next year I went, it was like triple the number or something. And it was so cool to see that number get bigger, but to see the amount of people who were still sticking around and that the light bulbs kept, it was to me still one of the most impactful moments of, so I'm sure that's on video somewhere in the Scentsy world. And it legit still gives me goosebumps to see that, because like Jody was saying, you're going to find different people you work with well, maybe some you won't. That doesn't mean you don't fit in, but you will find your people, and there's always a place, and you will always learn from these different people. I met Jen on that same exact trip in Banff, but I don't think I really ever had a real conversation with Jen until Melissa's house. Like, for real. So, I mean, you just never know what's going to take you places. And that, to me, that's exciting. So you just don't know until you go.
Oh, good one.
I'm going to just kind of throw something off of what Jamie's saying. The first reunion I went to was Denver. And I see a lot of you saying, I can't wait to go to my first one, or I can't wait to go do this, or maybe I don't have enough money to do this. I had to borrow money from my mom to go to my first reunion because I joined July 20th. And I don't even remember when the reunion was, but because I'm bad with dates, whatever. I'm not sure what's wrong with my brain, but I don't ever remember dates. But I went, and we were in between PCS moves. Like, my husband was in Florida in school. We were about to get stationed in San Diego. So I was living out of a suitcase and still went to reunion in Denver, and showed up in Denver with my blinged capri pants, because I lived from Texas. Hello, everything's blinged back then. And didn't even know, like, this goes to show you, I knew nothing about the awards. I didn't have an upline helping me. And they called my name for the annual sales. I didn't even know I earned it. I thought it was a mistake. I went up to the person and I even said, at the moment, at the stage where you're supposed to line up, and I said, excuse me, ma'am, can you please check this? I think they made a mistake. I don't even know what this is. And so it's being plugged in to your business, number one. Number two, it is showing up for different events and making that sacrifice. Like, there are things you're going to have to give up and sacrifice to make it happen. But here's the deal. We all have 24 hours in a day. It is your choice on how much you get done or want to achieve or not. It is a choice. And if you want something bad enough, you will find a way. You will make it happen, right? If it means not going to Starbucks drive-thru and getting a coffee and putting that $5 in a jar, or selling an extra 500, or sponsoring a person, when you know what you want is the big picture and you want it really bad, so bad that you can taste it, you will find a way to make it happen. And that's kind of the mentality that you have to find if you are wanting some of this and wanting these relationships. And it is the connection, it is the friendship, if that's what you're longing for. But number two, it's going to help build your business to what it needs to be. If you're looking to have a 6-figure income, or have a retirement, or quit your other job so you can do this full time, you have to show up and you have to make sacrifices. It may be missing a family dinner or two. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was a single mom with Jason deployed, and I sacrificed a lot of things because I wasn't where I wanted to be. Anything you want in life, you're going to have to make some sacrifices for. And so just remember, making those connections, showing up, just being vulnerable, having courage, do it. Just do it and see what happens. Because worst case scenario, you'll either learn something from it or it's going to make you stronger. It's one of the two, right? That's the only option. So I say just go for it. And if that's, especially you're wanting your business to grow, and surround yourself with people where you're trying to go, you will become who you are hanging out with. My mom always said, be careful, don't be hanging out with that trash. You're going to become trash. Like, if they're drinking and doing drugs, I don't want you drinking and doing drugs. Like, we all know, our parents said, don't hang around with those people. It's the same in your business. You know, you've got to surround yourself with those people that you aspire to be and want to be.
I'll just add too, I think, I don't actually know how to word this, so it might come out a little weird, but it's funny when you get the Scentsy culture too, because I see a lot of people in groups, LTOs, get nasty and hung up on what they don't have, what they can't get, what runs out. But like Heather always says, there's 100 bazillion other things to sell in the catalog. And you just, I think when you get the Scentsy culture, you don't attach yourself to that piece of it. Because if you're really honest with yourself, your business isn't successful based on one product or not getting one product. It's based on your consistency. It's based on how well you're working your business and putting things into action, not if you didn't get that warmer that was launched or you didn't get that buddy and I get there's like a growing process where it gets uncomfortable if this is your first time running a business, trying to tell that customer that you didn't get a certain product for them or you didn't get something, but people get really upset that this is ridiculous. I couldn't get this when we all know how this stuff works. And okay, you didn't get this one. You explain it to your customer and you find them something else that they will love in our catalog. And that's really what the culture is all about, is just your glass is half full. It's not always rainbows and unicorns. Yeah, things stink, but if your arrows are always out and you're always just not really thinking about the products you're providing, which are great, but more the experience, your customers and your team will always mirror what your attitude and your actions are, always. Like it never fails. Whatever you're doing or your attitude about anything, your customer and your team will do the same thing. And when you get the Scentsy culture, you never resort back to, this is horrible, Scentsy's awful, the shipping's off, this and that. Like things stink, but you just pivot. You pivot, you go back to your tribe, you see how they're dealing with it, you feed off each other, and you just share something else. So I think being on these calls and diving in as much as you can. And even if it's I see tons of people on these with little babies on one leg and feeding them in the other and listening to a call. Like I used to listen to every Saturday training call, folding laundry, making the beds and doing all the things and walking around. Like you've got to fill your mind with positive stuff because it's so comfortable to just stay in your bubble, not see people, not turn your camera on. I do it when I'm having a bad day. Callie's always like, are you okay today? Yesterday I was bebopping around. She's like, oh, today's a good day. Like you have to just jump in and you have to fill your mind with positive stuff because it's easy to get sucked into that dark vortex. And then you just say, oh, I can't do it. Nobody's buying anything. We talk about it all the time. People that say like, no one wants to buy, it's COVID. People like, let's take a look at the Scentsy numbers in all of our teams and everything that we've done this last year. People are buying. If they're not buying, it's because you've resorted back into your bubble and you're making excuses, besides major life things. That's not what I'm talking about. But a lot of times when we're honest with ourselves, a lot of what's going on with our business has to do with us. And I think when you always resort back to that purple screen that Callie just read, like if you always go back to that when you're having a bad day, it's easy to always remember why you're doing this. And it's all about positive experiences and memories and friendships and family and fragrance. Like it always goes back to that.
I feel like Melissa should take it home.
Well, I will just before Melissa takes it home, because I totally agree. Melissa should close us out. We have 10 minutes here. She always does a fabulous job. I just want to add something really quick. Something that I know, and we didn't in our group chat, I didn't get the full verdict, but something that I know I would love for our group is I'm going to start doing a Scentsy Spirit award. And if others want to, great. But if you see somebody showing Scentsy Spirit, if you see a comment, if you see somebody helped you in a way that provided Scentsy Spirit, share that, shout them out, tag them, hashtag Scentsy Spirit on our group page, because a lot of times we also do things that aren't recognized, both good, bad, right? But we do certain things for people, it's not recognized. Others help in other ways, or we're not seeing those Scentsy Spirit things that are happening. And so please, if you do have that opportunity and you do see it, share it. And then I will search in my group every single month for hashtag Scentsy Spirit, and I will randomly pick somebody to just give some happy mail, something fun, because I think that it is, the more that we see it, the more that we experience, and then it just becomes contagious, just like anything else, good or bad.
So I know one other thing, I'm sorry, Melissa, that I was going to say earlier, it's hard during COVID to find connectors and, all of those things. And it kind of goes on what Callie just said. In your group pages or other pages that you're on, don't just go in there and ask questions or look for a product. Like if you see something, maybe it's you or your team or somebody's new and they're welcoming, be there, show some Scentsy Spirit, and don't just write welcome. it's kind of like somebody that says HBD for your birthday. Like they couldn't even write out the whole word. Just like, welcome, we're so happy to have you. You know, when is your launch event? Or, you know, check out this, or give them a tip, or give them advice. Like those are different ways that we can kind of embrace and show the Scentsy spirit and the Scentsy culture in a virtual world right now. So that's all I wanted to add.
I couldn't get my menu to come up for me to unmute. I think it's so hilarious. You all were like, okay, Melissa, take it out. I think it's just funny. And then you apologize for taking my time. It's kind of funny. Here's something that I thought of about our Scentsy culture just from listening to tonight's call. And I'm going to totally brag on us shift leaders for a second, more so because I get to brag on my friends, not so I'll just include myself in it. But I think that we do a very good job of offering opportunities for all levels of consultants. And what I mean by that is, if you are just interested in selling products and making money, we have trainings and opportunities and programs, and we can lead you in the direction of groups and trainings on the workstation to help you do that. And if you are interested in the community and the culture and the camaraderie, we have that to provide to you as well. And I think that we do a really good job just in, I mean, look at the opportunities that are available. Each of us do our own communications with our teams, and I apologize. Hey, upstairs. Of course. Look at this kid. What are you doing? You escaped your bedroom, mister. Look at him. He escaped his bedroom. You need to get upstairs. Now I'm not going to be able to close it out because he's going to come over here and crawl on me. Say hi. Say hi, Jojo.
No.
But anyway, the Scentsy culture is, we do a really good job of giving you a mixture. And it isn't just every time you tune into something Scentsy related, it's going to be driving sales tips and techniques down your throat. And that's something that I love, is that it's not this constant high pressure environment that some people thrive in, but most are afraid of. And I think that's what makes us so different, is that we welcome you no matter what type of consultant you want to be. If you show up, we welcome you. And like Callie said earlier, of the thousands of people that have the opportunity to get on any of our training opportunities or calls, there's 100 and some that take advantage of it. And you're part of that. And keep that momentum. Keep that momentum, because the more you show up, the more you get to tell stories like we did tonight. The more relationships that you will build, the more you will feel a part of this community. You done? I'm done. Because he's using me as a jungle gym. But I love you all, and I love Shift, and I love that we do this together. And I love Scentsy.